Hello, I'm Daniel Evans from the Creativity Forge. This is my work for the Punisher new competition this year about the dream sequence. I'm making a sculpt in 3D coat, and I will later render it in Blender, though I only have a bit of footage about that because I'm not a very good renderer. I didn't have a lot of time to work on it, unfortunately. I've been working on a very big different commission for a long time. A really good one that I'm excited to post, but one that was taking a lot of my sort of attention, and it felt like I can't do other big projects because I need to get this one done for someone else in the time, which is great. It was very fun, and I loved doing it. But it just meant I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this. Also, my tech wasn't helping me, but I'll talk about that another time. This one was Dream Sequence. I don't often enter in these because I'm an okay sculptor and I'm an okay animator. I'm a good rigger, but these aren't things that often help in the Punisher challenges because they tend to be about the scenes, about the environment, and that's definitely a weakness, one of many. But I did think, well, I can do something fun for this one. It's Dream Sequence. It's more about the camera movements than anything. So I could use my sculpting and see if I could do something surreal and interesting. And that's what I did. I don't think I had the time to put into it I don't think it'll be one of the winners or whatever, as amazing as that would be, because I just didn't have the time. But I am proud enough with what I entered. I'm glad I got something done. So this is 3D Coat. It's my favorite 3D software. It's my favorite... Yeah, well, let's stick with that. It's my favorite 3D software. This is me in the rendering view, just seeing how light falls on it. I'm going to battle the rendering view this whole sculpt because I could not get detail. I can't up-res it enough, so like make it a high enough resolution model. Not because of the software, just because my hardware is outdated, and so it was very hard for me to get texture on the skin. And later on, I try and fake it, but a lot of the time I just went into the rendering view and looked at how smooth it was and was like, let's work on it for longer. So I thought I'd do a bunch of faces, all based off the one, sort of like transitions. It ended up being just different surrealist expressions of this one, but yes. I thought I'd do a bit of a bust just so it doesn't cut off at the bottom of the screen weirdly. And then I'd do some interesting things. I made a grumpy old man because again I didn't have time, and I'm pretty good at knowing what grumpy old men look like. I could make a portfolio entirely based off grumpy old men. For those who don't know the software, what I've just done is actually quite interesting. So I've been sculpting in voxels this whole time, and symmetrically. Voxels are when you use the brush on it, it adds or removes polygons, basically, versus surface, which I've just switched to, which moves polygons. So it extrudes them, it pushes them in, it bends them. Surface is better, especially at high res, to get more detail. It's what ZBrush and Blender use. I don't know if they've since updated. Well, I don't think Blender has. I don't know if... let's stick with I don't know if they've updated to change this, but voxels are just... They feel very free, especially in the early stages, but they lack the ability to do detail. Surface is what I often swap to at the end of a sculpt when I'm doing all my non-symmetrical details and I'm shifting things about and stuff. Like I'll start moving parts of the face for the other expressions, and that's all surface because I don't want to add stuff and I don't want it all to smooth. But yeah, I'm mainly using 3 or 4 brushes, 2 in voxel mode and 2 in surface mode. Popping into the rendering view again. This is getting a little closer to what it's actually going to look like. In fact, I think I've got it. Yeah. So now I'm modeling, or I'm editing it to make the alterations. I was going to do a little animation of every time it swaps, it's a slightly different expression, but that ended up, I didn't think it would hold up with the camera move, and I only have, I think it was 9 shots, so I wanted to make them all much more noticeable and stand out. So this one comes into it, and it only does so because I wanted one that was like, it goes from the normal face to an expression of the face. And now I'm going to start messing with some wacky stuff. Just duplicating it again. I'm duplicating it in a stupid way, by the way. Don't do what I just did. I was battling Wacom drivers. Oh, God, I wish I used something other than Wacom. So yeah, here's where we're getting fun with it. We're getting weird. We're also getting low frame rate on my computer right now, but I'm sure it's fine. So this isn't I wouldn't necessarily recommend sculpting the way I'm sculpting, especially if you have much that you intend to. I knew I wasn't intending to rig it or even unwrap it, so I could just kind of go a little freely and everything became more or less one model, especially because I was going to edit it several times, so I didn't want to, like... It felt easier to me to do this. This is a terrible way to do teeth, but when you want to be quick, frankly, this is still a terrible way to do teeth. I can only do things in the way my brain sort of allows me to. Like, I think about a thing, it's like, yeah, I can do that. That's the way I have to do it. Doesn't matter if it's less efficient or anything like that. I don't have efficiency in me at the moment. I've got to do whatever I can to make sure my brain is able to let me start. But this was fun. And I was getting a lot happier with it here. The way that the shadows were falling, the black in the mouth. This isn't the texture that I'll use. This is just a 3D Coat one that I've built. I've edited since. But when I get into Blender, I'm going to use some clay shaders from, I've just forgotten the person's name, but I'll try and put it in the link in the description. Remind me if I haven't. But I bought some clay shaders off of them that I really, really like, and they help me be creative without having to finish a product, and I use them a lot. So this is slightly based off of it, but when I put it in Blender, I'm going to use them entirely. That's very strange with those teeth just hanging on. There we go. Now I think this is the third model that actually gets into the one. The mouth open halfway I didn't end up using, even though I kind of prefer it to this one, but this one, given you'll only see it for a second, it reads better. Not even a second. Yeah. I was actually, for a lot of these, I was in the room with a friend of mine. I knew I was going to do this one. This one, I've always loved something like this. But I was in the room with a friend, and we were playing a turn-based game. I think we were playing Heroes Hour, a gorgeous little indie Heroes of Might and Magic like. I recommend looking into it. But while it was his turn, he takes so long, so I would do all of this on my side. And every now and then I'd ask him, how do you think I should, like, what's a head concept, or how do you think I should change this? And he was just having a good time helping. He helped me. I think he suggested the final two, or final three, and then I changed the final one a bit, but yeah. But this is the kind of fun that I just love. This is like, I specifically don't want to be clean. I want to be messy. I want to be expressionistic and mess about. That render was when I was like, okay, I have a chance. The harshness of the shadow, which I knew I could replicate that in Blender. I'm not very good at rendering, but that I can do. Made me very happy. Oh, this is an exciting little... There we go. I've got this at 10 times speed. That was like 2 minutes enough. This is definitely my favorite. This is the one that I think turned out the best. I made it too tall, but that's okay. I love how this one ended up looking. So I'm in mirrored mode again here, and I'm in voxel mode because there's no way that Surface was going to do what I needed it to do for that. Software I used for this was 3D Coat, which you see here, primarily. Then I used Blender to render it, and obviously use the camera movements that Pwnisher provided. And then I edit in DaVinci Resolve, which gives me a few sort of some nice effects that I love. So this was fun. This is literally I just grabbed from one side and dragged to the other, and then I just carved into it to give it some shape. I actually thought it looked really cool. Getting all those striations a-going. Yeah, that was when I was like, oh yeah, look at this! I was excited to show my friend that one. That's a nice little render, I think. I could see that I wanted to edit the striations, the stringy bits a little, but just to give it a little more sort of... It didn't look real yet, it looked like tubes. So I wanted to make it look a little bit more like it hangs and stretches and all that. I don't know what this material would be anyway. Some kind of sludge. Yeah, and then I just have to clean up the crease. This is what I mean by it was too high, though. I think the nose is too far. The nose is way too far away from the mouth. Because I had the hinge beyond the cheeks almost, whereas it should have been just above the lip, which means I would have gotten a lot of rolls on the cheeks instead. But instead, I just made him a tall head. This was fun. This one I think is the one that actually reads the worst in the animation, just because you can't quite see what I was going for. And to its credit, I was bad at this one. This was ambitious. But I thought I'd swap his mouths and his eyes. Yeah, I know I needed to give them lips, or it wasn't going to work. So teeth, they have lips. They are only lips. I needed to give them teeth to have it read a little better. So I thought, well, I'll do one closed, one open. I think. Oh no, it was one happy, one angry. That's what I was going. Doing the teeth the same way as before. Yeah, I just don't think I made it look like mouths well enough. And the eye nearly looked terrible. Still kind of only looks okay. This is my least favorite. I'm very critical of this one. I mean, I'm critical of all my own work. Who isn't? But this is definitely the worst sculpt. Doesn't help that that one that we're currently working on, that's just not how mouths look. Whatever. Here we go. Getting ambitious. Like, okay, now let's open this closed mouth again so that we can do all of this weird stuff. Blah. I didn't want it to look too, like, impossible, because I've already done the wide open mouth from earlier, and later on I'm going to do a different kind of mouth, but this was like, I want it to look like the eye is pushing against his teeth and his jaw. So. There's our eye. This did not look like an eye very much. It looked a lot like something else, and not something that I intended it to be. So this was like, I had to soften it a lot. Although looking back at it, this actually looks... Oh, that's why it was the render that I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work at all. That just then was when I was like, oh, I can do this. I had an interesting idea for what it was going to look like in Blender. I do like the closed mouth in that one, in that render. Testing different settings. Honestly, when I put it in Blender with the camera movement, I ended up using the same, like, you'll kind of see, but in Blender, every face just, I switched them on when the camera would face them, which worked really well, I think. I made the switch between frames, so it's almost imperceptible, which is cool. But I only put one light in the scene, and then I looked at every head. Like, I lit the first face, and then I looked at every one of them with where the camera moved and was looking at them, and the lighting looked good for them all. So I end up just not editing the lights at any point. Oh, here we go. This was ambitious. I'm very okay being destructive with my work. I actually think it's very freeing. I often paint when I'm doing digital painting in one layer, just so that I don't get attached to every little thing that I thought looked good. I didn't want to make 5 new layers for this crazy mouth, when I could just do it. Yeah, this is a much better idea. Well done, Daniel. It's a little bit Blade. Is it Blade 3? Blade 2? I think it's Blade 3. No, it's not. It is Blade 2. You know the Blade I'm talking about. It wasn't. I didn't have reference or anything, but I mean, that's probably going to be quite obvious. But that was in my mind. I just wanted some crazy, creepy mouth. The kind of thing that if it bites you, it's like, I don't know if it's particularly good at biting people, but it would be distressing. Like the sensation would just be like, oh dear, that's quite unpleasant. And I add some sharp teeth to make it look dangerous. They don't read at all in the actual animation, but that's okay. I didn't want to give it like layered, or no, I didn't want to give it teeth in the same spots. I wanted them to be kind of like, I always think about the Kraken scene in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, that's a nice one. I love looking at that render. I like the eyes there. I think that adds a lot. Is this the last one? Second last one? Oh, I still can't remember. What am I doing? Yes, this is the last one. Now this one, I had to edit a lot. I really liked the concept of it, but then I started making it. I had a second of, wow, this looks like, how do I put this for YouTube? A character from Preacher. And not something that I could put in a publicly viewable animation. So instead, I fix it. There'll only be a second when keen-eyed viewers might see it and go, oh, that doesn't look right. This is just me adding a lot of folds. I was thinking about how the skin would really just go onto itself for this to happen. Here we go. Getting some shapes. I was trying to figure out what the best way to do this was, and I think I came up. This is the best way. Especially when I realized I have this really cool ability in this program of I just click and it goes over there instead. Once I figured that out, this gets very fast. Found it very hard to have it look random. It's always been a weakness. My stuff always ends up looking... Not always. My stuff off the cuff looks quite uniform and planned. And it is. I just struggle to get away from that. And so this one was hard. I'm like, I don't want to just fill all the space with all these things. I like how it looks in the end, though. I also wanted to do the front of this because I knew that it wasn't going to be viewed from behind. You only get like one frame of the side of it, I think, and I wasn't really worried about that. Here we go. I thought, you know what? It doesn't just have to be eyes. What if it was mouths too? Which doesn't read whatsoever, but it did add some good sort of depth and shadows, so I think I keep it. What's really exciting, we're nearing the point when I save this out. I didn't retop with this whatsoever. This exports at some 3 million polygons, and that's what I put into Blender. I don't recommend that. I'm just very lazy. I mean, this program is the best program in the world for retopper and UVs. I genuinely can't recommend it enough, but I still hate doing them. Yeah. Well done. Daniel. Put some teeth in those mouths, make them look more like mouths. Giant mouth on the side, because that's the side that I think I realized it was going to turn in from. I hope I'm not lying to you on that. For reference, I did all of this about, must be 3 weeks ago. And again, this lighting, I was like, oh, this has a chance. This could look good. And here is when I'm trying to give eyes all the details, different details as well. So that's like a goat's eye. Sheerly from memory, the worst way to do a goat's eye, because I don't see a lot of them in my everyday life. But, these are the riveting moments. This is what makes me such an incredible YouTuber, is all the moments when I don't just have giant pauses in my time lapses. This won't happen again. God, I hope you can hear me, by the way. I'm not home at the moment. I'm having to record this just on my laptop with no external microphone. My laptop already has a fan. Here's hoping. Sorry if it sounded rough. I really like how that mouth on the side looks, actually. It's very Audrey, too. Feed me, see, Mom. Here we go. Exporting now. Do I care enough to hide any of my details? No. So I'm just putting it in Blender. I've seen where the camera's going to go. I'd inspected the scene and chosen it and all that stuff prior. And I'm literally just putting them in at, like, full high-res capacity. Because they're all just two models. It's just and I just merged the eyes. And to start with, I put them all at the same spot, same scale. That was what really mattered to me first. Because if the first camera shot looks good, then the rest can as well. And especially if they all spin on the same axis. But yeah, so I'm just getting them all uniform, putting them all in Blender, and then I'll figure out some lighting. I put a volumetric in, just to get some diffuse on the lighting. I didn't want much diffuse. I actually wanted it to be very like a horror sort of flashlight look. But I can't help it. I always have to put a volume in. And it helped a bit with making it still show that the camera was turning. One of my big worries when I started this was that it wouldn't actually look like it's turning in the way that it is, and that's one of the requirements of the challenge. This was funny. I loved seeing all the zoomed in ones. I'm such a child. That's something that I'll always enjoy. Oh yeah, that was Blender stopping responding for a bit. Again, I'm working on some old tech. I don't even blame Blender for this one. And obviously, when all of those were on just then, there was some, 15 million polygons. So, I shouldn't blend it too much. Blend it? Blame it. And here we go. I'm just literally moving every single one of them for wherever the camera's going to be. And then I duplicate the first one so that I can get this into a looping animation. You only get one frame of that, but that's fine. Now I'm animating them turning on and off, I think? Or am I not? I mustn't have been. Oh, that was me duplicating them. Anyway, now I just look in the rendered view so that I can get some lighting done. I only wanted to focus on lighting the first one. I was like, I'll light the others afterwards. I'll figure out what I like. It's currently got no material, but that's fine. This is the volumetric. I'm just very hastily making it. I'm not a very good Blender artist. This is all what I do to be a better Blender artist. To just be a better artist. Like we all want to be. But yes, so I'm getting a low density, relatively, fog so that the lighting hits the background a bit. It just looks a little nicer overall. But then I started watching it after I've fixed this animation up, because I still haven't looked at how the lighting worked for the other heads. I think that's what I'm doing right now. I always go for that Rembrandt lighting first. But yeah, then I'd start cutting, and I was like, oh damn, this works. Especially that one. I was like, ah. And there we go. All done. Thanks for watching.